pizza. The group broke up and headed through the door to the bathroom. Xena and Lucy were first under the shower to wash the cum from their tits, assisted by Martin, who delighted in washing his girls. Helen dashed for the toilet. She was about to pee herself in the sauna, and only managed to hold it in. She made no attempt to close her legs, happy to sit there and let Adam watch her unload. Dawn didn't bother to wait for her mother to finish, opting to hover over the bidet and squirt. Ben waited to one side to take his turn. "Ben, darling." Helen spoke, still sitting, still pissing. "Pop into the playroom and bring back towels for us all." Ben sauntered off through the other door to do as his mother had requested. The room was dark, lit only by the light coming from the massive LCD television on the wall. The sound was off, but he recognized a video that had been left playing, a raunchy lesbian fisting movie clip. He had watched it many times, cock in hand. Ben walked directly to the linen closet and grabbed a bunch of fluffy white towels in his arms. Out of the corner of his eye he noticed that the video had stopped, showing the catalog of clips on the hard drive. Someone else was in the room. He turned and saw his father in the center of a black, leather sofa at the back of the room and, barely visible, a skinny black child snuggled up on either side. He couldn't make out which child, but one of them had his father's cock in their hand. "Oh, hello. You're back." "Hi, son." "Yes. We finished up about 10 minutes ago." Alistair began. "We had a peek at your lot and left you to it. The kids asked if we had any porn, so I brought them in here." "Dad, are you sure that's okay? Sam's only 10. "Yes, son. I know. I just fucked her." Alistair let his words trail off, hoping his son would get the point. "Oh yeah, sorry. I get it." Then as he moved off, "I have to get these to Mom." Knowing that her parents would soon join them, Sam poked around on the remote control and started a movie she found earlier. It was a clip of two black people fucking doggy style, and the man looked a bit like her father. She paused the playback just before the best bit. "You kids have been great." Alistair started. "When your mom and dad get here they are going to want to be with you. So when they arrive you just jump up and go to them ... and remember your promise." "Oh, we will." Young Luke answered. Sam nodded her approval, then added ... "It was so much fun. You tell good stories." The others started to straggle in. Xena was first, followed closely by Dawn and Adam. Sam and Luke raced to their mother and wrapped their arms around her as she walked. She herded them to a large, flat bench seat, a little away from Alistair. She wanted to have a quiet chat with her kids. Alistair saw her discomfort and made a beeline for Dawn at the other end of the room, intentionally distancing himself from the conversation. He needn't have bothered. He could not hear Xena's questions, but both Sam and Luke were so excited he heard all their answers. "Oh, Mommy. It was so much fun?" Sam blurted, loud enough for the world to hear. "Yeah, we're fine," said Luke, not wanting to conceal his answer to Xena's next unheard question. Sam then said something to her mother in a whispered tone. Alistair could not make out what she said, but Xena's surprised response gave it away. Luke! "You were okay with that?" "Sure. Now I know why you and Sam like it so much." Alistair concluded that Luke was talking about the cock he had shoved in the boy's asshole. Alistair made sure he wove a nice long boy fuck into his story and Luke accepted it quite readily. Sam loved it. She had seen some gay sex on the net, but seeing Alistair slide his hard, pink cock into her brother's cute, black ass was something she was not going to quickly forget. "You should have seen them go, Mommy," she said as a follow-up. Helen noticed that day had turned to evening. She quickly conferred with Alistair, then Martin and Xena before she moved to one side of the room and spoke. "Okay guys," she started, with a clap of her hands. "It's getting late, and I'm starting to get hungry. Pizza." Children across the room voiced their approval, some with arms raised as if in school. Helen knew she was going to get that answer and had already decided on the division of duties. "Ben, Adam, you two are in charge of collecting everyone's orders and dialing it through. You are also going to be the poor souls that have to get dressed to collect them at the front door. ... Make sure you get them to deliver some soda with that, as we don't have enough cold for all the kids. Dawn, you take the rest of the kids and get plates, glasses, napkins, whatever. Bring it all down here. We'll all eat together while we watch a movie or something. ... Now all of you go." She barked ... and Ben, "Put it all on my platinum card." In an instant there were only adults in the room. "Can I fix you up for the pizza?" Martin offered. "Nonsense," Helen replied. You'll get to return the favor one day. She paused. Now, Alistair and I would love you to sleep over tonight. We have tons of room and it would give us all a chance to get to know each other. And besides, I have every intention of getting you too drunk to drive. Martin and Xena exchanged a glance before Xena spoke. We'd love to. Going back home after such an exciting afternoon seems a bit of an anticlimax. Then on reflection. You have enough room for all 6 of us? Sure, said Helen. But we might have to squeeze 3 or 4 to a bed. Helen finished with a very cheeky smile. We'll tell the kids after the pizza. The kids returned in a rush with all the things Helen had listed. They set them down on the bench just inside the door. Is that all of it? Helen asked. Yes, Mommy. Dawn replied. Excellent. Now you can take the drinks orders. Adults first. Helen instructed. Dawn went from adult to adult and asked each of them in turn, play acting the attentive waitress. Dawn signaled to the other kids and they were gone again. Come and have a look at the rest of the house. Helen offered. We'll just have to be a bit careful that we don't give the pizza boy a thrill. The 4 wandered back out of the playroom and back up to the house. Entering through the back door, the kitchen was to their right. On the left was a sunken sunroom, with floor-to-ceiling glass looking out at the pool. It wasn't a room as such, more the back end of the long entrance foyer and center hall. Further to the left was a large casual lounge room. Once they entered, they saw another huge flat screen on the inside wall. It had been placed so that it could not be seen until you were fully inside the room. The front half of the house they had already seen. The living room on one side, Helen's suite on the other. They waved at the 2 older boys waiting for the pizzas. It was a little strange, seeing them sitting there, fully clothed. How quickly you get used to nudity, Xena thought. The stairs to the upper level were nestled between Helen's suite at the front and the TV room at the back. Before they climbed the stairs, Helen opened a door at the foot of the stairwell. Powder room, if you need it. They filed upstairs and stopped as a group at the top. The stairs opened onto a single, open space that matched the foyer and hall below. It was scattered with furniture, but not cluttered. Above the front door was a small desk and a single executive chair. That is my space, Alistair offered, pointing. Helen gets a quarter of the ground floor, and I get that. More than you deserve, slacker. Now show our guests around. Helen responded, tongue-in-cheek. Alistair led Xena and Martin to each of the bedrooms. The master bedroom was above Helen's office, to the left at the top of the stairs. To the right, looking out over the pool, was a large guest suite, complete with a general en-suite bathroom. Martin wondered if that might be his and Xena's room that night. Across the open space, above the living room below, was another guest suite, also with its own bathroom. At the rear of the house, also looking out over the pool, were 2 smaller bedrooms. It was obvious by the furnishings that these were Ben and Dawn's rooms, Ben's room in the corner of the house. Over the kitchen, Dawn's above the sunroom. The doors to the 2 rooms were adjacent to each other, somewhat hidden, and across the hall from a 3rd door, leading to a large shared bathroom. Martin noted the layout. No 2 rooms, except Ben and Dawn's, shared a common wall. And the parents' room and the pair of children's rooms were on opposing corners, as far away from each other as possible. A couple could get up to some vigorous humping up here without disturbing the kiddies. Xena was the first to notice a pattern with the scattered furniture. This is another playroom, isn't it? She said, motioning towards the center of the room. Of course. Helen responded shamelessly. Have a look at the high windows facing the street. Do you think that anyone wears anything up here? Then pointing at the sofas, and these make up into 3 more double beds. Walking to a small sideboard against the wall opposite the staircase, she opened the first drawer. Condoms and lube. Then the second drawer. Dildos and vibrators. And all the batteries you could ever need. Finally the third drawer. And other toys. Xena and Martin were still standing there, gawking at the assorted sex paraphernalia, when the call echoed up the stairwell. Pizza. The boys accepted the delivery, shut the front door good and tight, then took the time to get naked again. Then, and only then, did they make their announcement. The adults caught them as they staggered out to the playroom with the enormous stack of pizzas. Helen noted the position of the other children as she entered the room. Sam was helping Lucy out of Mai's chair and, on a double bin bag in the corner, Dawn and Luke were very cozy. They weren't fucking, they weren't having sex of any kind. They were just lying there, completely naked, nose to nose, holding hands. Pizza was accompanied by more porn movies. Alistair was a keen collector of vintage porn. He had digital copies of many old Super 8 movies and rips of grainy VHS tapes. The kids laughed themselves silly as they ate their pizza, giggling at the big hair and mustaches of the 70s and 80s. There was an African woman in one of the scenes with afro hair more than foot thick. Lucy leapt up and mimicked her, grinding her hips, moaning in the throes of a fake orgasm, all the while holding her hands above her head as pretend hair. Ben almost choked on his pizza, he was laughing so hard. Helen and Zena looked at each other and shared a nod, both obliviously delighted at the normality of the situation, a situation that much of the world would consider very much abnormal. These kids were having a ball. Fuck the world. Alistair was just happy to see all the kids comfortable with their nudity and sexuality. Martin was also watching the kids, looking at their smooth bodies like he did at athletics. He didn't have to imagine them naked, he could see them, and they were beautiful. Luke and Dawn caught his attention. They were sitting on one of the padded fuck benches, with a box of pizza between them. To make room, each of them had one leg on the bench, another dangling to the floor, legs spread wide to accommodate the pizza box. From his position he could not see into Dawn's pussy, but his son certainly could, and Dawn could see all of Luke. The two of them were sitting there, munching pizza, pointing and giggling at the old porn, occasionally leaning forward to share some secret, seemingly oblivious to what was between them. Luke's fully erect penis. Martin could even see in the flashes of light from the television that Luke's penis was wet with juice running down the side facing Dawn and onto the boy's balls. Zena looked down at her husband's lap. He too was now sporting a raging hard-on. "What's got you so excited?" she whispered to him. "Have a look at young Luke," he said quietly. Zena chuckled to herself and whispered back, "Boys. God love them." Helen gave the kids the task of cleaning up after the pizza. Leftovers into the refrigerator, boxes into the trash. She pulled Dawn aside and whispered in her ear. The young girl grinned and ran off alone to the house. As the rest of the young ones ran around following orders, the adults got together for another powwow. Helen began. "Who's going to give the kids the news?" she asked. "May I have the honor?" Martin asked immediately. The other nodded their agreement. Waiting for all the children to return from their chores, Martin rose and began his announcement. "Children. It has been a wonderful day. We have had a lot of fun, but you know the old saying, all good things must come to an end." He waiting, watching their faces sink. He waited a little longer, watching for the first child to lift his or her head to object. It was Sam, of course. "I'll hear nothing from you, young lady ... because this good thing is not going to end until sometime tomorrow." Some of the kids got his inference and smiled, others didn't. "We're all sleeping over," he said for the slower ones. Suddenly he had naked children hugging him from all directions. Helen chose the moment to add some more mundane details. "Children. Zena and I have discussed it, and we have chosen the bed partners tonight. No argument. Period ! Zena. Zena rose to call the roll. "We have decided that Adam, Ben and Lucy will have one guest room. Dawn, Sam and Luke, you will have the other. All the parents will share the master bedroom ... And as Helen said, no arguments." Helen added a little after Zena finished her speech. "You can all mix and match between now and then, except Dawn. She has another job. Alistair has another story, and she is in it." Dawn grinned again, as Helen went on ... "And so are you, my dear," Helen added, placing her hand on Zena's shoulder. "What?" Zena exclaimed. Dawn rushed to her and wrapped her arms around Zena's narrow waist. "Oh, Zena. This is great. You're going to love it," Dawn said, most excitedly. "When does this happen?" Zena asked, still puzzled. "Right now," Alistair said, taking the woman by one hand. Dawn took the other and they led her away. "Thank you for keeping the secret," Helen said as she sidled up to Martin. "Oh. You are most welcome. It's only fair. I got to have sex with you in the pool. I hope they have a great time." Alistair and Dawn led Zena to Helen's suite. At the far end of the hall from Helen's office was another door. Dawn went ahead and opened it for the adults. Once inside she shut and locked it. Zena was a little frightened, and Alistair saw it on her face. "Relax," he said. "I'm not going to hurt you. You are perfectly safe ... But I have chosen this room for a purpose. It is totally soundproof." Zena looked frightened again, so Alistair went on. "My story involves screaming, but not in pain. For other reasons. You will want to scream, I will scream, Dawn will scream. I'm telling you this, about the soundproof thing, so that you won't think that Martin will come rushing to save you. Okay? Okay. She answered, still with a little trepidation in her voice. And, of course, this will also involve sex. Probably a good idea to go and empty out? Alistair advised, pointing to the attached bathroom. By the time Xena returned, the room was lit only by a single candle. The story had begun. Outside, the rest of the group abandoned the playroom by the pool, shifting to the playroom at the top of the stairs. The salon is what the family called it. Martin knew he would get to fuck Helen again later in the evening, so let his boys have their way with her first. Ben was into Lucy again, leaving Sam cuddling her dad. Adam and Luke found their way into all three of Helen's holes in the one session, mostly both at the same time. Helen started on top of Adam, riding him jockey style. Luke immediately noticed her pink ass winking at him, so climbed above them both and shoved his cock inside. Ben knew the furniture well and lay Lucy over the one of the arms of a giant chair. Her pussy was the perfect height for him to stand behind her and drive his cock inside. He pressed her chest against the leather to hold her in place so he could get into her nice and deep. Martin and Sam sat on a two-seater, she in his lap, his thumb deep in his daughter's cunt. They watched as the others fucked and grunted and groaned. "Daddy?" Sam asked quietly. "I want your cum inside me. Darling, you know I can't do that. My cock would tear your little vagina apart." "I know. It's just that I have to get Luke to use a condom once we get back home, so this is my last chance to have cum inside me." She paused, and reached over to hold his cheeks with both hands. "And I want your cum in my pussy just once before I have to stop." "But," he said, before she cut him off, "I want to suck you and rub you and make you cum, but before you squirt, I want you to put the soft part of your penis just inside me. That way I'll get your cum and you won't hurt me. You've thought this through, haven't you?" Sam just smiled and slipped off his knee and onto the seat next to him. She crouched and went down on her daddy like a pro, sucking and rubbing his shaft with both hands. He had come several times already that afternoon, so wasn't in any hurry to come now. He lay back and watched his boys fuck Helen and Lucy, now taking up the ass from Ben, as his little princess worked away at his cock. When he felt his juice start to well up inside, he tapped her on the back. She jumped up and straddled him as Lucy had done in the locker room. She lowered herself onto his cock until she felt the head inside her enough to make the cum squirt inside. Martin lay there rubbing his tool, watching his tiny daughter on top of his cock. Then Sam got brave. She lowered herself and felt the hard meat of his shaft start to spread the mouth of her vagina. It stung a little, but she didn't care. It was Daddy's cock, and it was inside her. Martin felt it too and whispered to her, "Be careful." Sam dropped a little lower. "Ouch, ouch, ouch." She dropped lower again, expecting her pussy to scream at her. It didn't. She had pushed past the widest part, and her vagina had stretched without tearing. "Oh?" She let herself slide slowly down his shaft until she felt his cock pressing up against her tiny womb. He didn't fuck her. He was inside her, but neither of them moved again until he blew his load a few seconds later. She had got her wish, she had her dad's cum deep inside her. With his hand still grasping his cock, he slid it up, lifting her away and milking himself inside her at the same time. When she was finally off him, he watched as his cum gushed out of his 10-year-old daughter, and over his hand. "That is the last time I do that until you are much older," he warned her. She fell forward onto his chest, arms around his neck, cunt still oozing the last of his juice over his belly. She didn't speak. Her pussy was screaming at her now. She just kept kissing his chest again and again. Luke saw them first. He tapped Adam to get his attention, then made him stay silent with a finger against his lips. Luke walked over to Ben and Lucy and did the same. Soon the rest of the group were standing there, looking at the stream of cum trailing out of Sam's cunt, and nobody spoke a word. She had fucked Luke, and now Alistair, but Dad, fuck,